I guess the interesting one, if you think about those front-facing, when Ted O'Brien has the biggest job ahead of him because so much still comes back to the economy, and he goes straight from, it's sort of straight from a pretty difficult sell on nuclear to now trying to rein in what's seen as almost Labor's advantage now in the economy. But the other one will be interesting, I think, around the budget. So there's always so much wrangling. And I know it's much more important in actual cabinet versus shadow cabinet, but that's the James Paterson role, isn't it? The discipline to not promise too many goodies, which it'll be hard to keep that discipline because they're basically seen as no chance to get in next time. So how do you offer some things about to try to win over some votes when you won't have to implement it?
Well, I guess, the other thing is he gives Ted O'Brien a bit of relief in that economic space in terms of, he loves a media appearance. He's rent a grab, old James Paterson, and we welcome that here on Sky that he'll come on often. But
I was going to say, don't scare him away.
If you get where I'm coming from, that means Ted doesn't have to shoulder all of it. And, there might be an argument from some that Paterson might be, have a very hard studier and worker he might have more of a feel of the brief than Ted does. Big test for Ted. Jim Chalmers can really tear you apart in that parliament. And you think back, there's a few shadow treasurer graveyards around. Julie Bishop never got looked at as a Treasury candidate again after she failed as shadow treasurer a long time ago, Tom. So a big test there for Ted O'Brien. He obviously wanted the challenge, though, and that's the sort of attitude you have to have when you become deputy leader of an opposition party, I think.
That's true. It's one of those numbers ones, isn't it? So they'll be worried when they've got an interview with you, maybe, Andrew Clennell.
They'll be worried about you, Tom Connell.
I note as well, Tim Wilson in there. He's got a recount. Look, no problems, barring an irregularity. His lead's gone from 260 to 267 with about 10 of the booths rechecked. It would take a weird irregularity. But Giselle Kapterian is in there as well, in an outer role, so Shadow Assistant Minister for Communications. It does have an asterisk. Her lead's 5 at the moment, Andrew. So she needs to now watch over the next 12 days or 10 days or so. If she stays ahead, she's in Parliament with a position, and otherwise she's out.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Assistant Minister, does it matter really? That's the thing. It's not a Shadow Cabinet position. And not a bad move, really. I mean, they need some city MPs in there if they could actually cling on to this seat. Because, we know a lot of their MPs are either from the Senate or regionally based. So they need a say for the cities in that shadow cabinet. I can't see Barnaby Joyce staying particularly quiet on the backbench, though, can you? A bit of a hint there from Sussan Ley, too. I thought that she might dump net zero.
Well, that's the clear policy differentiation. And she indicated nothing sorted yet, but... said, these are the sort of things we need to work through. The other thing about that, and part of the reason it was asked, is because we've had emissions or climate drop from that portfolio. So it's an interesting one for Dan Tehan. So, emission reduction is in there, but not climate. So whether you read into that around net zero or otherwise. Dan Tehan, what do you make of him in that front-facing role? Because, he was mooted for leader. It's a big role, isn't it? And it's still something that Labor's going to be vulnerable in, more so on the price side versus the coalition, you'd think.
Oh, yeah, it is a bit of a test for him. He was kind of demoted by Dutton to immigration as opposed to home affairs, so it's definitely a promotion. I don't think Peter Dutton was the biggest fan of Dan Tehan. Tehan did the numbers, I think, for Frydenberg as deputy leader when he ran and became Scott Morrison's deputy. So there's that connection there with him. Good time to get Dan Tehan on and find out what he thinks of nuclear, isn't it, Tom?
Good point. We'll see who texts him first, you or me. You'll probably win. Andrew, thank you for all your analysis on another interesting day there for the coalition.